Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I am that dude, Bodkins.
Yeah, DP lost like, beef. Yeah.
Right, where he's wondering he's like, I
Patty to patty.
He won style, like no weight classes.
Yeah, basically, like I said, there's been a couple guys that are like,
It's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy.
That's just not my mentality, bro. Like,
Yeah. Leave the ladder down. That's my always like, hey, somebody helped you out. Why not help somebody else out? Return.
Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkins Show.
Or bringing Craig Counsell down the interstate in a move unexpected. I had people.
I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
I muted myself. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkins Show. This is our weekly dump. Oh, man. I got to get something off my chest already. So last week, before the election, I said, hey, remember, let's not, don't fucking bitch about somebody's opinion, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Now that we know who the president is, it's going to be Donald Trump. Now you got both sides. You got one side who is crying, who thinks the world is fucking coming to an end, who is, literally I have seen posts on like people weeping and crying that this man is president. And then you got the other side, like, acting like this man walks on fucking water, like he's Jesus fucking Christ. Like, come on, y'all. Like, it can't. Like, first of all, let's address the left side. First of all, it's not the end of the world. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna get through this. You're gonna wake up the next day and everything's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. It's 4 years. You did it for 4 years. 4 years ago. You can get through these next 4 years. So it's going to be okay. There's nothing you can fucking do about it. You did what you could do about it. Stop bitching and moaning. Stop crying about it. Literally fucking crying. Tears coming down their fucking face. Like, it's going to be fucking okay, y'all. And the other side, your right-hand motherfuckers that are worshiping and like Jesus, like this man walks on water and he's Jesus fucking Christ. Come on now. Check yourself. He's not Jesus Christ. He's not going, you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand the worshiping of any really politician. I don't understand that. Acting like this man can, like, hey, he won the election. He's the president. Let's just leave it at that and see what happens. We don't need to continue to act like this man is Jesus Christ and he's walking on water and praise the Lord and this stuff. Let's stop. Let's stop all the erroneous. Let's just see what happens. Let's live our lives. It's going to be okay. Okay, folks. We're going to be okay. I just had just too many y'all loving life, hating life. Like, just who cares? Come on. We'll get through it. It's going to be another 4 years. We're going to have another election and that's it. 4 years goes by like that. Remember, it feels like yesterday Biden got, elected. So it goes fast, folks. It goes fast. We'll be okay. We're all in it. All right. A man who's not okay is my co-host after the Hurricanes left their offensive line, their defense in Miami, and the team traveled to Georgia, and they got upset by Georgia Tech. They weren't the only team to get upset yesterday, but they were the first one. Then Georgia goes down. This college playoff, I'm waiting for this college playoff. This might be the first college playoffs game, season I'm really looking forward to in a long time because it is wide open. But give it up for my co-host, Mr. Yankee fan, Johnny Cruz.
What's going on, bro? Good morning to you. Happy to be here for another episode of the Weekly Dump. Just real quick before I even get into my Miami Hurricanes playing with their food once again yesterday, and this time it coming back to bite them in the ass. With the election thing, just to get it off my chest as well. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Whether you voted for Donald Trump or not, the next day the sun is going to rise. You're going to have to go to work. You're going to have to take care of your kids. You're still going to have to do what you have to do. Just continue trying to be a good person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't let that type of shit affect your life and what you need
Both
to do
sides.
every day.
Both sides. Be a good,
Right,
good
right, and
person.
that's on both sides. You know what I'm saying? The ones
Yeah.
that say I'm with you. I don't get the whole worship thing. I mean, you shouldn't be worshiping anybody, let alone a freaking politician. But
Yeah,
it is what
worship
it
God,
is.
whatever religion you believe in. That's the only thing you should. Yeah.
Right,
Like,
that's the only thing you should be worshiping. But you know what I'm saying? Life will go on. Life finds a way. So just keep doing what you're doing. Be a good person and treat people with respect and stuff, and everything will be fine. We'll get through these 4 years. Like we've been doing. So it is what it is.
it can always be worse too, folks. Like remember that.
Yes, it can't always be worse, and let's hope for the best. Let's see what happens over these next 4 years. Hopefully things, if you are going through stuff, hopefully things get better in your life, regardless of who's the president or whatever's going on. You know what I'm saying? Do what you need to do for you and make things better for yourself. And those people that you surround yourself with. That's the most important thing right there. But the Miami Hurricanes, the offensive line did not show up. We have a really good offensive line.
I watched most of that game, and Cam Ward was running for his life. It seemed like almost
right.
every play.
We got out coached in every every aspect of the game. Why we didn't try to punish that defensive line with running the ball more? We've got the bigger offensive line. I don't know why we didn't take advantage of that. I know that Cam Ward has been great, and we've been riding his arm most of the season, but we completely abandoned the running game. In my opinion, we should have been running the ball more, and that would have gave us better opportunities. But this is something that has been going on for several weeks with Miami. They've had to come back, 3 or 4 different times late in the second half to win games, and this time they weren't able to do it. It could be a blessing in disguise. You never like to lose, but at the same time, maybe this is something that will, get them to realize that they have to come prepared, ready to play from the minute the first kickoff happens, and not just kind of lackadaisically going through the motions and then hoping that, all right, Cam Moore to find a way for us to win at the end. So I'm with you that I'm grateful for that it's a 12-team playoff because in most seasons you get that one loss. Unless you get lucky enough for other teams to lose and you win your conference championship, then you might have a chance at the playoff. So Miami still has chances in front of them. I know, there's all tiebreakers and stuff like that, but just take care. You handle your business, win these last 3 games that are remaining on your schedule, and then let the chips fall where they may. But there's been other upsets. You mentioned Georgia losing. So it's going to be interesting to see, luckily, there is a 12-team playoff, so Miami still has a chance if they can get to the ACC title game. But that was one of those games where, it just came back to bite them. And, of course, it's the same team that last year was the infamous, we didn't take the knee. We didn't kneel down at the end of the game. Yeah. The guy fumbled, and then Georgia Tech winds up winning the game. So, of course, Georgia Tech is the one to stop this streak of comebacks. But they've been living on the edge for the last several weeks, and it finally caught up to them. Again, hopefully this shows them that you got to be prepared to play from opening kickoff, and we'll see what happens. But I'm grateful for the 12-team playoff this season, because otherwise that would have been it.
You play with fire, you're gonna get burned one too many times. You know what I mean? Like you can't have 10-point deficits. Right. You know what I mean? Like in this, you know what I mean? In any league, really, like it's hard to come back, especially multiple times. Right. I just felt like yesterday watching that game, like the Canes' offensive line was just nowhere to be. Cam Ward was running for his life and maybe trying to do a little bit too much at times. And that caused some, turnovers and some plays. But man,
honestly, you got to look at the other side of the ball, and it's been something that's been an issue for the majority of the season. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason why Virginia Tech scored so many points and Cal scored. I mean, Duke put up the most points that they had put up all year against us. So our defense has been an issue all season. Cam Ward has just found a way to win us these games. And then yesterday he was a bit off. The offensive line wasn't blocking well.
The offense isn't playing perfect in the
right.
You have that defense to
right. So, but our defense, like, I mean, Mario needs to be, he needs to be on that defense. I mean, they couldn't tackle for their lives. I mean, they ran for 247 yards against us. I mean, that's an embarrassment. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to have some some sign of some type of a defense where you can make a stop when necessary. All the great teams, they might not have the best defense overall, but they usually have a top defense. So you can't have the number one scoring offense or the number one offense like they did and then have like the 70th ranked defense. Like that's not going to help you. So again, hopefully this is something that there's plenty of tape and plenty of things that they can learn from this game. So hopefully they handle their business the next few weeks, and then we see how the stuff falls as far as the playoff. But I still think they have an opportunity to make the playoff. Obviously, they're not going to be a top seed, so there's not going to be a bye. But that might be the best thing for them.
I think they do, right? Because it's the top 5 conferences. The top five
conferences, right? So if they wind up, 11-1,
if they win the ACC,
and they win the ACC, then they'll probably be a top 4 or 5 seed, but they probably won't be like 1 or 2. I think 1 and 2 get the bye, or is it the top 4?
Top 5 seeds do.
Oh, top 5 do.
Let me look.
It's confusing, but regardless, you know what I'm saying, win out, win the ACC title, probably against SMU or Pitt, depending on what happens there. But you know what I'm saying, finish off the season, you know what I'm saying, with some wins. They got a game up in Syracuse to end the season. That's not going to be an easy game, but again, Miami has the talent to win these games. They stubbed their toe yesterday. You know what I'm saying? They need to win out and then win the ACC title and then just be one of the top 12. That's all that matters. Just get in the dance, and then you never know what can happen. So
it was the top 4 teams. The top 4 teams get a bye. Now, 2 of the top 4 teams lost yesterday. Hurricanes and Georgia lost their second loss of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Ole Miss, and 28-10. Everybody else, I think in that top 12 of the initial playoff that came out on Tuesday, won. Indiana handled business. I can't remember. Let me look to see if did Tennessee win.
I think they did. When Alabama beat LSU last night.
Yeah, bad. Yeah. Tennessee beat Mississippi State. So I'm pretty sure that was the only team in the top. Yeah, Boise State won 28-21. Pitt lost. They got upset by Virginia. BYU wins 22-21 by the skin of their teeth. So,
that's what I'm saying. So for all the Miami Hurricane fans that are, going crazy today, talk about, there's still a chance for them to get in. They just have to win out. So
watch out for the team to watch out for too right now. That's playing hot is Dion's Colorado team. I think if they can win out, they would win the Big 12. And then they would they would get into the dance.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like the chances of there being that many undefeated teams. I think we even talked about it a little bit on our text thread yesterday. BYU seems to be finding a way, in Oregon. So if you wind up with only 2 undefeated teams, and then you have a slew of teams with 1 loss, but then you have some really good teams with 2 losses. That's where, unfortunately, like the SEC is gonna carry more weight and stuff like that. So
SEC teams have 2 losses. Texas only has 1 loss now. You know what I mean?
So that's the shit. If you wind up with like 5 SEC teams all with 2 losses, the committee's gonna find a way to get 3 or 4 of them up in this playoff. So that's the one thing that's worrisome about this whole thing. But again, if if teams handle their business and they deserve to be in, they should be in. Again, with it being expanded to 12, there's still a lot of teams that have an opportunity. So we'll see what happens. There's still 3 weeks to go, but you got to handle your business every week. So
really 4 weeks with the conference championship games too.
Right,
you know what I mean? 3 weeks the regular season and 4 weeks like BYU and Colorado. BYU's got a pretty. I'm looking at their schedule right now. BYU's got a pretty easy route. They got Kansas, Arizona State, and then Houston. Arizona State could upset them. Arizona State's 7-2, so they're no slouch.
Yeah, and according to Tanner, I mean, Kansas is going to get it done next week. So
I mean, finish in one hand and shit in the other one, Tanner. Tell me which one goes up faster. So we got Colorado, who only is 5-1 in the conference, and they've been playing well, and it's under the radar. Like really, like last year, I felt like everybody was jumping on that train early. This year, maybe because they had the early loss to Nebraska, and ever since then they've been beating folks. And now I feel like, they did lose to Kansas State, so they got 2 losses. But they could win. They could win out, and that would be their one loss, and them and BYU could play. So they have Utah next week. Then they have Kansas and Oklahoma State. So neither one of those teams have a winning record. So they could win out and play BYU in the Big 12 championship game, and win, because Kansas State has 2 losses, but they're 7-2 in the conference. They have 2 losses in the conference, where Colorado only has 1. BYU has 0, and Iowa State has 2 losses in the Big 12. So Colorado the Buffaloes could get in there. And how about that? Dion in his second year. And like I said, it's under the radar. I felt like the media has calmed down on that team, right? Like maybe they're not playing in them. Maybe it's because they're not playing in all these prime time type games like they did last year. It seemed like, especially early on. And maybe it was the early loss to Nebraska. It just like, but they're doing something over there. And kudos for Dion for turning that thing around and doing a lot better. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, I'm with you on that one. It's probably a combination of things. The early season losses, the time that their games are starting, you know what I'm saying, could be part of it as well. And then you know how the media is. They love to build you up just to knock you down. So there was so much hype and love for Dion going to Colorado. And then, of course, they immediately flip on him once he had those couple losses early on. But that's a perfect example there of what I'm talking about. So they could finish out with 2 losses. Let's say they beat BYU, and that's BYU's only loss. Then it's a matter of, well, do you put BYU in, or do you put a 1-loss Miami in? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, so that's where those
Miami's got to win the ACC. If you win your conference, you're in.
Right? But there's a chance because of like tiebreakers and shit, which I don't completely understand how those all work or whatever. Yeah. So like Pitt, Miami, and I forgot who else has 1 loss in conference. SMU doesn't have any. So if they were saying, and Pitt doesn't play Miami, of course, in the regular season. So somehow, if Pitt wins out, they would play SMU, who they've already lost to, in the ACC title, and Miami would be left out. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like, what happens then if they get left out, and then Pittsburgh beats SMU? Does SMU with that 1 loss not make it because they lost the ACC title? That's what I'm saying. So there's gonna be some people that are gonna be pissed off regardless, even with
it's
12
still
teams.
Better than the alternative with 1 loss or 2 losses. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
2 losses. Like, you look at the teams that have the good teams everybody in the SEC has 2 losses outside of A&M, Tennessee, Texas. Like everybody else, like Georgia, 2 losses. Like a year ago, they're done. Bama, you know what I mean? Like they're all sitting at home, hoping that something else happens. Even Mississippi now, yesterday with that big win, to get to 4-2, that saved their season to where hey man, we might need some help. But I'm looking at the SEC conference. It's the top 2 teams, and right now that would be Tennessee and Texas A&M, both 5-1 in the conference. Texas is 4-1 in the conference. So you're looking at Texas and Texas A&M play each other that final week of the regular season. Winner probably, if they both win out, winner probably goes to the SEC championship game, and it has a chance to be a top 4 team in the conference playoffs. Right,
and that's what I was trying to tell people, because some of the fellow Hurricane fans were like losing their minds yesterday because they lost that game. Like there's still 3 weeks left and the conference championship week, so like anything can happen, bro. So there's still plenty of football to be played. Some of these teams will knock each other out. So as long as your team that you're rooting for handles their business and wins the games they need to win, then we'll see where the chips fall at the end of the day. But it's definitely making the entire regular season feel more important than past years. You know what I'm saying? Because every game is like so important now, especially coming down the stretch with these last few weeks. Every matchup is like a big deal now. So it's made it a lot of fun, man. I've enjoyed this college football season.
Yeah, and next week you got Tennessee and Georgia. So like that's Georgia's season on the line. Like you can't have 3 losses. Like and Tennessee is trying to finish, get to that conference championship game and make the playoffs too at 8-1. Like if they lose in Georgia, like then there's 2 losses, and then you're looking at Georgia, Tennessee. Well, then obviously they beat them head to head, so it's just it's a wild time, man, and it's 12 team is it's interesting. Makes a lot of people's season still alive. Like I said, like Ole Miss saved their season yesterday with the win over Georgia.
Alabama's still holding on with 2 losses. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be interesting to see how these next 3 weeks play out, man. So it's nobody, even though again me and you said that we would have preferred 8 over 12. Now with Miami losing that game, I'm kind of glad it is 12 and not 8. But the extension of the playoff teams definitely is making the college football season that much more interesting for a lot of fan bases. You know what I'm saying? It opens it up to so many more fan bases to actually enjoy the end of the season and have the hopes that their team could possibly sneak into the playoffs. So it's better for everybody.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was looking at Bama doesn't play anybody the rest of the way. They play Mercer next week, who's 9-1, but they should be able to beat Mercer, right? Like, that's like a Division Type 2 school. Then they got Oklahoma, who's 5-5. Then they have the Iron Bowl at Auburn. Auburn comes to town and they're 3-6. So,
see, but how does Mercer get thrown in there? Like, how are you able to play a Division 2 school week 11 of your schedule? You know what I'm saying? Like that's supposed to be the week 1 and 2 of your season.
When you got Tennessee and Georgia playing the same.
You know what I'm saying? You're playing Mercer. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. Yeah. But and props to Mercer for being 9-1, and hey, maybe they'll shock some people. But like that just it's one of these does not belong with the rest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One of these things is not like the other. Yeah. I'm looking at Boise State too. Like their team that obviously like they're the number 12 team. If they win out, they could get in. They got San Jose State, Wyoming, and Oregon State. Like those are all kind of winnable games. San Jose State 6-3, Wyoming 2-7, then Oregon State is 4-5. So like, Boise has a chance here to backdoor their way into the playoff. They're the last team in right now. Man, it's always fun when Boise State's around. Obviously a couple decades ago they were upsetting Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, and if you remember all the Statue of Liberty and and all that.
I remember that game. That was a fun game.
Yeah, so like it's fun. Like this 12 team, man. And it's just like I can't. So they were talking about this on Pat McAfee too. Like there is something to be said. Like I am looking forward to the home playoff atmosphere of college football. Now they were like, but they could move. So let's just say Indiana, right? Like they could move those games to like Indiana. Hypothetically, has their struggle with their towns, with the hotels and things like that. When you can move it to like Indianapolis, more hotels, and then you could cram everybody into the Lucas Oil Stadium, and then it's more money for the universities, right? But like there's still something to be like those like games like that to me aren't the same as if you had to go to Indiana or to LSU and you get that real home atmosphere than if you're playing in the same state. It's just something about going to that you're playing in your home where all the students are, and it's just all the traditions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that one. That's what makes having that home field advantage in the early part of the playoff exactly that. You know what I'm saying? Be able to play on your field in front of your students and your fans. So I understand the thought of moving it for hotel you'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? Stay in a hotel over there and take a damn bus or drive your ass to the stadium. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the game's gonna be at 9:00 in the morning. You know You know what I'm saying? You can make the trip from your hotel to the where the game's being played and cover it that way. So I hope they don't do that to like in Indiana. If Indiana happens to make it there, I hope they leave it the way they intended it for it to be, with them having the home field advantage in the playoffs, because that just brings a whole new element to it, bro.
Yeah, I do too. I think that brings a special element to it. Like, to me, the neutral site stuff is more like bowl games, and they're going to do that later on, you know, as the rounds progress, obviously. But like, there is something to be said. Like, the one thing that makes college football special is the traditions of like of each university when they're jam packed. Like, I enjoy the atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere is huge. Yes.
Yeah, that's where
I'm with you on that. I'm completely with you on that 100%.
It'll be interesting. Like you said, we got really 3 weeks left at the college season's cruising around, and then we're going to be conference title games, and then it's going to be real fun as far as who's going to be playing where, so and what. Wow. So yeah. That first week of December is the conference weekend in December. Is the conference championship weekend. Like,
nice.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so we're right, man. We are creeping, folks. We are getting there faster than ever. Let's I do want to get to look at the NBA real quick, Johnny. What do you know? Another year, another Zion injury. He is out for indefinitely. This kid can't ever stay healthy, man.
No, and I mean it's something that was discussed and worried about. When he got drafted, there was so much hype for him coming into the league. But he actually had a couple of small injuries his 1 year at Duke. So there was always that fear because of how high he jumps and the bounce that he has in his legs. Having all that weight, you know what I'm saying, was it sustainable? And then he winds up getting drafted to probably a place where the cuisine is just too good to resist. You know what I'm saying? My man is in New Orleans. So you know what I'm saying? So he can't stay away from the baguettes and all the good stuff that they got down there in Louisiana. But and you thought that he would realize that after his first couple seasons and have the commitment to be able to lose the weight so that he can get through a full season healthy, and he just hasn't been able to do that. And it's sad because, you know what I'm saying, when he is out on the court, he's fun to watch. He's an exciting talent, but it's not like, I can't say I'm surprised that he's hurt again. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks.
Yeah, he's out indefinitely with a hamstring. I feel bad for the Pelicans too, because you invested all this money on this kid, and you're paying him, and you just can't stay healthy, man. It's sad. It's like a Greg Oden type situation where the talent is there when he's out there. But
see, now I feel bad for them, but at the same time, they didn't have to give him the extension.
Yeah.
They could have traded him and tried to get some kind of assets, because obviously he's proven that he cannot stay healthy. So they had an opportunity before they gave him that extension to because you would have got something for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, people would have traded for him just for name alone. You know what I'm saying? Somebody would have traded for him. So, I feel bad for the Pelicans overall, because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Anthony Davis wanted out, and then they get the first pick with Zion, and then he can't stay healthy, but they didn't need to extend him. They could have tried to trade him and get some assets for him, because you still got some other good players on that team that they could have built around. But they decided to give him the extension. So, I mean, it is what it is. But it sucks for any team when they lose a player like that. You know what I'm saying? Your franchise, they got Brandon Ingram, who's a really good player. You know what I'm saying? So they could have traded Zion to build some pieces around him. But they chose to extend Zion, and now it's just, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna have to deal with it, because not only are those contracts guaranteed, but those contracts are huge, bro. You know what I'm saying? $50-$60 million a year. That's insane, bro. What up, Bo?
And here we go. Somebody, I can't see who the Facebook user is for some odd reason, but and here we go with the punishment of the Holocaust game in Germany. Yeah, I mean, this game is going to be absolute dog shit. We'll talk about NFL here in a minute. What up, Bo? I was on Bo's podcast for the Pick'ems this week. It was an honor to sitting down and have a show with Bo.
Nice.
It's been a while. It's always a good time. Real quick, too, in the NBA front. Doc Rivers, the Bucks are 20-27 with Doc Rivers, and by comparison, that was the same record as the coach that they had before Doc Rivers' record. It was actually better with Doc. I mean, they can't figure this thing out. And then there's obviously the reports that if things go sideways, Giannis could be out of Milwaukee.
Yeah, that whole thing is just a big ass cluster. I don't know. I didn't understand why they made the decision to fire the coach from the get-go. And I guess there was some internal stuff or whatever, him not getting along with the players. And, of course, everybody's going to point at Giannis. I don't know if it was Giannis's decision to have them hire Doc Rivers. But, I mean, he was like an assistant or an advisor while he was doing broadcasts.
Yeah.
So it just seems shady. From jump how it all went down. So I mean, I like Giannis. I'm glad that he got his ring. You know what I'm saying? But I'm enjoying the fact that it's completely exploding in their faces. I don't like when teams do stuff like that. Like you had a coach that had a winning record. You know what I'm saying? You can get through whatever issues you have or try to work them out or whatever. But you try to be sneaky about it. You try to bring Doc Rivers in. And it's been a complete mess ever since. And they're 2-7 right now. Like there's no way you should have a team with Giannis and Dame Lillard and be 2-7. Be this bad.
Yeah, I know Middleton's you but still, like they're
you got a top 5 player in Giannis, and you got a top 15 to 20 player in Dame. Like there's no way to be 2-7. So I mean, I'm just gonna be interested to see. Because I think he is going to wind up asking out because I don't see it getting any better, to be completely honest. You know what I'm saying?
They should have never. I love Dame. I think he's a hell of a player, but Drew Holiday is
a dude, bro. I like Drew Holiday.
Ask the Celtics what Drew Holiday could do. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason he won a championship with the Celtics,
and he was the piece that they needed when they won their title. You know what I'm saying? He was that final piece. So I don't understand why they broke it up. And for as much as, and again, this is where sometimes loyalty hurts you. You know what I'm saying? Like their loyalty was to Chris Middleton, even though he was showing signs of not being able to stay healthy. And he was so, him and Giannis were so tight. You gave Middleton that extension when that's probably who you should have moved on from. You should have left Drew Holiday there, found another scoring guard to go in the mix, and then you would probably still be straight. But you got now you're down Chris Middleton, who's always hurt, and you lost Drew Holiday. And Dame never wanted to be there either. So that's the other part to it too.
And Drew is I love Dame. Again, he's an elite scorer in this game, but like Drew's a physical point guard, a guy who can guard your best wing player. Yep. Where Dame is not the greatest defender.
And he's not a good defender at all. You can be honest about it. He's not a good defender at all.
Yeah. Adrian Griffin was the coach before Doc, but remember they fired Mike Budenholzer, who won a championship. Like they should never fired Bud. He didn't coach him great in that one playoff game when the Heat beat him in like 7 games or something like that. But without Jimmy or something, I can't remember.
Right, and unfortunately, I mean that's something Miami does.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, especially with Jimmy Butler, they find a way to do shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to fire the coach that just helped you win a championship, and again, that's why I'm saying I'm happy that Giannis got his ring because he wasn't like the other. You know what I'm saying? The other stars of this generation that just want to swap teams constantly to team up. He wanted to win his title in Milwaukee. He did that. But it's gone to shit ever since then. Again, you're firing the coach that helped you win that title. And then you're trading, you know what I'm saying, you're trading a key piece that helped you win, helped you get over the edge, over that that hump to win the title. And then again, you made the commitment to Chris Middleton, who's coming off injuries and now is constantly hurt. And I think that was the wrong move. But it's going to be interesting to see where Giannis goes. If there's reports of the Miami Heat or possibly the Knicks or something like that. I don't know how that will happen, but there's been times, well, at least as far as Miami fans are concerned, Miami Heat fans think they're going to get everybody anyway. So they swear that they're going to get Giannis. So, but that would be interesting. And what would Miami have to give up? But I think that would be a good fit, him down in South Beach with Jimmy Butler and company there.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're giving up. You'd have to give up Bam, right? Like Bam would have to. I feel like Bam. See,
that's the thing. If you got to give up Bam, if I'm giving up Bam, I'm
probably have to give up Tyler Hero.
And that's, I mean, if you're gonna give up the entire team to where it's just Giannis and Jimmy,
Jimmy has been banged up the last year and a half.
Right. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They would have to keep Tyler Hero if they can, or you know what I'm saying, Jaime Jaquez has turned out to be a pretty good player. He's in his second season this year. I don't know how they'll make, because they got to make the money work and all that shit too. So that's the one thing about the NBA trades or whatever. But I mean, I'm glad. I like Giannis. I'm glad he got his title, but I'm glad that Milwaukee is struggling right now because some of the moves they made was just some bullshit.
And real quick, it's early. Like Cavs fans, I love Bobby G. I love my guy Mike from the Man Cave. Like I love them all, man. But like, let's pump the brakes. Like I know your Cavs are 11-0. You got nothing to cheer for because the Browns stink. But let's pump the brakes. It's 11 games of 82, bro. Like you know what I mean. Like let's not tout championships and let's. Hey, you guys started out. They started out hot last year. And we saw what that led them. Talk to me in February, March, Cavs fans, before you start pumping, touting out the Cavs. Like, let's really, any NBA fan, it's 10 games like this.
Right.
To me, I would say basketball don't start, NBA don't really start till Christmas. But so let's pump the brakes like Cavs. Like, I love y'all, but Jesus, let's calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down.
I'm with you on that one, and it's in both directions. Again, we're here shitting on Milwaukee for being 2-7. There's still a lot of basketball left to be played. And shout out to Bobby G and everybody you mentioned, and all Cavs fans. I'm happy for you guys. They're fun to watch. They're playing really good basketball. I mean, Donovan Mitchell's one of the best players. Mobley's starting to develop into a really good presence. Allen is healthy, so they got a bunch of good pieces there. But let's not start thinking that you're gonna win 70 games and what I'm saying, like, enjoy the 11-0. It's a wonderful start. You're putting yourself in a position to be able to win your division, and we'll see what happens or whatever. But there's still a lot of season left to go. So don't get too far ahead of yourselves, but enjoy the ride. Your team's playing well, finding ways to win games, so enjoy it.
How about the Sixers being 1-7 real quick? And
could it happen? Could it happen to a better franchise?
Yeah, and we mentioned the Sixers. Embiid last week, right, with the scuffle, he got suspended 3 games. Michael Lombardi, I was listening to his podcast. He said that's not a punishment for him. They should have made him play 3 games in a row. That's the punishment for him.
That is a very good point. I think we talked about it when it happened. That you're saying that's probably going to work out good for him because he was going to sit out games anyway. That's a good one there. But yeah, it should never get to the point where you put hands on somebody, regardless of what he wrote about or whatever. And we discussed it. It wasn't as egregious as it was made to be. He didn't specifically point out the stuff. He just commented on it or whatever. And as far as him being great and what, if you're going to be great, you got to do well. The 76ers don't do. Yeah. Right. Yeah. If you're going to be great and you say you're going to be great, then you need to play to be great. You know what I'm saying? You can't be sitting out and saying that you want to be great. You know what I'm saying? The great ones don't be sitting out. They play. And again, he's another one where I know people, he's injured. Well, you know what, bro? Lose some fucking weight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're 7'2", whatever. You should not be weighing 300 something pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, lose some weight. You've got all the footwork and all that stuff, bro. Drop the lbs. I don't want to hear, oh, he's in the best shape of his life. That's not good enough. You need to
we
be
see all the time, right? Like
in top tier shape if you're going to be a top tier NBA player.
There's a reason LeBron James at 38, 39 years old is still a top 10, 15 basketball player. It's because he's invested, he invests $2,000 or whatever it is in his, it's not $2,000. It's like $1 million.
I think it's like $2 million a year he invests
in his body. You know what I mean? Like his body is an investment.
There's other speculations about stuff too, but I digress. But still, you could tell the ones that are constantly putting in that work, not only on the court but in the weight room, to make sure that they're in the best shape possible.
In the kitchen, you know what I mean?
Yeah, with their nutritionists and stuff like that. They're making sure that they're eating the right things. You know what I'm saying? You can't be eating Philly cheesesteaks and just because you know what I'm saying, you hit the gym for an hour, you're okay. No.
Yeah. And we might be okay, but we ain't playing 82.
But we ain't playing right.
82 running up and down the basketball court,
Exactly that. But I mean that's another situation where it's like, you know what I'm saying, I like Joel Embiid's game for the most part, but like I don't need to hear him talk at all.
Yeah. Let's get into the this week's NFL. What a game Thursday night. I picked the Bengals with the points, and they covered 34-35. I mean, Jamar Chase was just running all over them. I agree with Zach Taylor at that point in time going for. So there's two things. Yeah. Early in that game, they went for it on 4th and 2. I didn't like the play call on 3rd down and 2, where it was a big long pass where the Ravens had momentum. And then they went for it on 4th down. Same thing. It was like they went for broke on 3rd down and 2 and 4th down and 2. Like, didn't like those play calls. But then I agreed with the play call to go for 2 for the win. There was still like 30 seconds left in the game at that point in time. But, so anything could have happened with the way the Ravens were cooking at that point in time as well. But Ravens win 35-34. I agree for going for 2. I didn't like the I think it was like the possession before that when they went for it on 4th down and 2, and just like I didn't like the 2 play calls. I don't mind going for it on 4th down and 2 at that point in time, or even just kick the fucking field goal. But it was just the play calling I didn't like.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I don't know what the hell I was thinking going with Baltimore covering 6.5. Like that was just dumb looking back at it because
I was the only one on the show.
Yeah, you're the only one on the show that because you got your Bengals Burrow Bodkins thing going. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought the way Baltimore had been rolling the last few weeks that they would at least beat them by a touchdown, but I should have known better because Baltimore defense is honestly in some areas they're a little suspect.
Their secondary is suspect for sure.
Yeah, I don't mind them going for 2 and going for the win there. Props for them for being aggressive there, especially because they had no answer for Baltimore at all. So even if they go into overtime, who's to say if Baltimore wins the coin toss, they don't go right down the field and score a touchdown. So I don't mind them being aggressive. I'm with you though on the earlier series. It's 3rd down and 2, and if you already have the mindset that you're going to go for it on 4th down, then why are you taking 2 long, deep, passes down the field? Just get the first down. You know what I'm saying? Run a nice play that you got that will get you 3-4 yards. Get the first down, keep the chains moving, and then see what happens. Or if you're going to take a shot, take one shot and then go with a play that guarantees you a chance to get the first down. So that I don't agree with that there, but it was definitely probably the most entertaining Thursday night game so far this season.
Yeah, we've had a few. The Bucks-Falcons game was entertaining, and this one was by far. Jamar Chase in that game, 11 receptions, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. Bro, all right. Since
we're talking about Cincinnati, let me ask you this, bro. Like, when is Joe Burrow going to tell them to get him the hell out of there?
Never. He's an Ohio dog, man. The thing, and then they had the no calls, a couple no calls. Like, how come Joe Burrow ain't getting these calls? The couple face masks he's had.
Yeah, I hear on that. The reason I ask is because that franchise has been known to be cheap their entire existence, and they
Well,
are
they've
cheap.
already paid him. They paid him, and now
Well, they
got
paid him.
to
They
pay his
paid
buddy Jamar Chase.
They paid him. They left T. Higgins out to dry. They're giving Jamar Chase a hard time about his money. They've lost defensive players because they didn't want to pay them. They lost Joe Mixon because they didn't want to pay him.
But Chase Brown is
no,
been
and that's fine. But at the same time, like while Cincinnati's making these moves to save money, you got organizations like Philly and others that are adding players to try to make their, you know what I'm saying, all these trades for wide receivers to help their quarterbacks out. You know what I'm saying? Do you notice that Joe Burrow don't ever look happy? You know what I'm saying?
So, happy every fucking play I'm getting my dick kicked in the dirt either.
That's what I'm saying though. So at what point does he go, yo, are you guys gonna like pay to like put talent around me, or is this the way my career is gonna be the whole time? You know what I'm saying? I just wondered about that. You know what I'm saying? Because my man never looks happy and shit like that. And Cincinnati has been known to not want to pay people. Like Jamar Chase should have been had his money, bro. He's a top 2-3 receiver in the league, bro. He's a stud. You know what I'm saying? So why are you even messing with him? Pay that man, bro. Pay that man. Let him be happy. You know what I'm saying? He's got the connection with your quarterback. Like stop messing around. But that's what Cincinnati's known for. So I hope they don't screw this up.
Yeah. And their defense has let them down. I mean, Lamar Jackson went 25 of 33, 290 yards, 4 touchdowns in that game. Like he was all over. He's
like a cheat code, bro.
Yeah,
it's not even funny.
He could win MVP again. I would probably give it to Jared Goff right now, because like I don't know, but Mark's playing better than we did last year. But I feel like I said this too. It won't matter until we get to December, January, for Lamar. Like we saw him play this good last year. I think they're a better offensive team. I don't know if they're as good defensively right now as they were last year, but offensively, I think adding Derrick Henry, a couple of these wideouts can stay healthy, and they can get something out of Deontay Johnson, who they just traded for at the trade deadline this past week. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely playing at an extremely high level. I'm with you. I would give it to Goff just because of how well he's playing on that team over there. And unfortunately, you fall into those whole, like, you get fatigue or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you kind of just expect Lamar to do shit like this. So you kind of take it for granted, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So that might hurt him as far as MVP, although he is playing at that level. But yeah, having
MVP award too, which is insane.
Right. But having Derrick Henry in that backfield is just like, that's not even fair, bro. You know what I'm saying? To try to have to defend an RPO with those two, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to get run over or do you want to break your ankles? You know what I'm saying? like pick your poison. You know what I'm saying? So it's a crazy situation there. He's playing great. But like I'm with you, I would lean a little bit towards Jared Goff because he's just playing out of his mind right now. But Lamar is he's in complete control of that offense, man. So I'm happy for him. They need to tweak some stuff on that defensive side to shore up their defense, but that's going to be a hard out. But he's always going to be judged on what happens in the playoffs and whether or not they can beat Kansas City. So we'll find out what happens there. But I would not be surprised if he won another MVP. If they go like this and they wind up with only 1 or 2 losses, you know what I'm saying, I could see him winning the MVP because he's playing great.
Hey, I'm right there with you. He is playing great. And the Ravens, I feel like they're one of the top 4 teams in the league. Let's get into today's slate. The game I'm looking forward to the most is the Steelers-Commanders. Like these two teams, both, only 2 losses. Steelers coming off a bye week. Like the Commanders look like they're the surprise team of the year, like what they've been able to do, and kudos to them. And the Steelers have been playing well. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people, I can't remember what their over under was. I was like, I'm always take the over with Mike Tomlin because like they're going to win. Like they're finding ways in that defense. They got better. They added Preston Smith at the trade deadline. Commanders did get Marshawn Lattimore, but at the trade deadline, he's not playing in this game. But man, that's the game to me to like, I'm gonna circle, like I'm gonna want to tune into this one. My Packers have a bye, so I'll probably be watching Red Zone, but I want to tune into this game though.
Yeah, I'm with you with that one there. Again, yeah, I'll be watching Red Zone as well, but I'll probably watch this one more often than not. And I would assume the majority of football fans are going to be watching or paying attention to this game here. It turned into a really good story about Washington, and now they made some moves at the trade deadline to try to go for it, and props it up for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Take advantage of your opportunities when they present themselves. You're in a great position. The only team that you really got to worry about in your division is Philly, because Dallas is ass and the Giants are the Giants. So go for it if you have an opportunity.
Dallas ain't just ass. Dak Prescott's probably going to have season-ending surgery.
Right. Yeah. So they're probably going to have a top pick. And don't be surprised if
Jerry,
they don't take.
Speaking of that, let me. I said this on Thursday too. Mr. All In Jerry Jones, his all in move was to trade for Jonathan Mingo, who is the fifth wide receiver on the Carolina Panthers. He couldn't see the field on the Carolina Panthers, and you expect him to come in and help this team? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Jerry? Like that?
Yeah,
that's right. For a fourth rounder, DeAndre Hopkins went for a fifth rounder. The Titans just gifted a Hall of Famer to the fucking Chiefs. Those motherfuckers. Like, you guys want to hear DeAndre? Thanks for everything. Enjoy your career and win a third Super. Let the Chiefs win a third Super Bowl, because that's what Patrick Mahomes needed, is a Hall of Fame wide receiver. While you got Jerry here, a fourth rounder for a second round bust who can't even see the field on the worst damn team of the league. Sure, come on in. We're all in here in Dallas.
Right. Well, that just goes to show. I was going to mention that there were a lot more established wide receivers that went for worse draft picks than that one. Which was a little surprising. I think he's got a few more years left on his contract, so that might have part of it. But still, I wouldn't have given up a fourth round for him. It's not like he's going to make that much.
You could have called him, probably got him for a sixth.
Right. Or you could have called another team and gotten anybody else. You know what I'm saying? and gotten the same damn thing. You know what I'm saying? So to give up a fourth round pick was stupid. But I think they're putting themselves in prime position to draft Prime Son. With a top 5 pick.
All that money, they're not drafting shit.
They'll find a way. I would not put it past them to do some shit like that or whatever, because they're just a complete mess. But as far as, again, back to the game, that Washington pick, I'm a big time Mike Tomlin fan. I'm never gonna forgive Stephen Ross for not hiring him because he was too hip hop. Good call there, Stephen Ross. But yeah, so I love Mike Tomlin. That Pitt Washington one, and then the only other one on the day that honestly looks intriguing is Detroit at Houston. Houston hasn't played up to what their billing was, because they got all that hype from last year. But they're still 7-2, but they haven't been as dominant as they were, portions of last year. And Detroit is just beating the shit out of people. So I'm interested to see that Detroit-Houston game as well. So although I am going to be watching the Red Zone, because my Dolphins play, but they play tomorrow, and not like it matters. They play tomorrow night, so I would normally watch the Red Zone pretty much all day today. But no, I am going to tune in to that Pitt Washington, and then I'm going to tune in to that Detroit-Houston game.
Yeah, that's the Sunday night game.
That's the Sunday night game. So we'll actually be talking. We'll actually do our recap right before that. So, the only other one that I can think of is maybe the Jets in Arizona. Maybe. What can Tampa Bay do? You know what I'm saying, against a San Francisco team coming off the bye? There's really, is Denver going to give Kansas City any type of a game? There's not really that many intriguing games like Pitt Washington. Pitt Washington is the game, is the matchup of today's slate until you get to tonight with the Detroit Houston game. Yeah,
same. They should have made the Washington. They should have flexed that one to the game of the week type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they could have easily moved that to 4:00 and made that the 4:25. But Philly, Dallas draws ratings.
We don't need to see that. They don't need to be the game of the week. Nah, right. I get it. not now, not without Dak, not without, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
they're abysmal. Like, and Philly's so good, and we've said this before. Like, they're so good. Like Nick Sirianni is going to do something stupid that's going to cost them eventually in the playoffs. I feel like
yeah. I mean, they're so talented. They seem to win despite their coach doing some stupid shit. But
yeah,
I'm with you with Pitt, Washington. And again, it would have been nice if they would have flexed that to the 4:00 game, but I'm good with that one being a 1:00 game because none of the other ones have any real significance, so I can pay attention to that Pitt Washington game with no issue.
Yeah, same. Let's get into our reviews of the week here. You before we get to our top 5, you did the Penguin. I've heard good things. I haven't seen it yet. Before you give your review, though, I just want to I'm going to dump this out about this show. I hear a lot of people be like, well, because it takes Colin Farrell, like, I don't know, 4 hours to put on makeup and shit. And they're like, they should have just hired a fat actor. They should have you can't just hire a fat fucking actor. The reason the show's so damn good is because Colin Farrell's a good fucking actor, y'all. Who did you want him to hire that's going to be as good as an actor like that? Like, who would, like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I could have brought him back in Danny DeVito from the old days, but he's a little too old to be dressing up as the Penguin, you know? Like, I've seen this repeatedly. Like, oh, they should have hired a fat actor, you know? Like, he's taking jobs away from fat actors.
Oh, my God.
Who did you want them to hire? The show would not have been as good because he's a good fucking actor. Like it would have been a completely different type of show because the acting is somebody that's not portraying the person. Literally, I've heard this on different podcasts or on the news and shit. Like, people be like, they should have hired a fat actor. He's taking jobs away from. Shut up.
To all those people, to all those people that are complaining about that shit, shut the fuck up, because that's just the stupidest take I've ever heard in my life. There's a reason why his portrayal and that performance is so great is because you have an Academy Award type of actor playing the role. The writing for the Penguin is spectacular. Kristen Milioti, who plays Sophia Falcone in the show, is Emmy worthy as far as her performance that she's giving. The acting, the writing and the acting is the reason why this show is so good. So the Penguin is obviously from the Batman world, that Batman universe, you know what I'm saying? And it takes place 2 weeks after the ending of the Batman. If you didn't watch the Batman, then you're missing out on that one, because that was one of the best.
What's his name?
The one with the Twilight kid.
Okay, yeah. And they're making a second one, right?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yes.
They're making a second one, or they've made
yes. They're finishing it off, or it's going to be coming up. I believe next year. So the Penguin takes place literally 2 weeks after the event of the Batman movie. So if you saw the Batman movie, again, this continues right into it. You see the Penguin in that. He did a great job. And if you notice, he only had like 7 or 8 minutes of actual screen time in the Batman. But that's how good of a performance he gave that people remember that performance. And now he's got his own show. But he's doing a phenomenal job. The storytelling is great. To see the rise of the Penguin, so he goes from just being, the gangster type that works for Falcone and runs the nightclub, and now he's turning into the Penguin, who's going to be the kingpin mobster of Gotham, and that's what this show has done. It's a phenomenal show. I'm loving it. Tonight is actually the season finale, so hopefully they stick the landing properly. And from what I've heard, Matt Reeves, who directed it and wrote all of it, and this is his world of the Batman. Like, this Penguin show is going to lead us right into the Batman 2.
Yeah, so, I heard that they're working on like the Joker too. Like
well, there's been little talk. I mean, and that's the thing. That's how you know a show is good. Because it's the Penguin, and obviously he's a Batman villain, but there ain't no sign of Batman, and not one time while you're watching this show do you ever think, well, damn, when's the Batman going to show up? No,
Yeah.
you don't think about that because the writing and the acting in this show is so good that you forget that Batman is out there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because you're so, focused in on what's going on because the story and the acting is so good. But yes, this Penguin show is going to lead us right into the Batman 2. And then there's talk about possibly them doing the same thing if they don't do a Penguin season 2, that they may do the Joker series similar to the way they did with the Penguin. But this show is phenomenal. Again, Colin Farrell is killing it and doing a wonderful job. Kristen Milioti, who plays Sophia, is wonderful. Like there's an episode where they show her flashbacks of Arkham, and holy shit, that was some crazy stuff going on in there. So this is one of the best shows. This is the best show on TV in my opinion right now. And it's not just because I'm a superhero fan, but it's, again, you don't even think about Batman while you're watching this show. That's how well written and how well acted it is. The Penguin gets 5 stars. I can't wait for the season finale tonight. And then I'll let you guys know next week how the season finale went and how it leads into the Batman 2. But if you haven't watched the Batman with Robert Pattinson, you're missing out, because I had some hesitation too, because I was like, oh, the Twilight Kid as Batman, bro. The Batman is awesome, bro. Like
I watch it. It's a long movie. It's been a long
but it's gritty, it's dirty. It's more about Batman, the detective. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what he was really in the early comics. He was the world's greatest detective. So it's more mystery and stuff like that. But it's dirty and grimy.
Batman than Bruce Wayne. Like he
right.
stays.
Yeah, it's more grounded. It's not with all the all the comic book type of fantasy type stuff. No, Matt Reeves is keeping it more grounded and more realistic, and I think that's turned out really good. The Batman, the movie, was great, and the Penguin, the TV show, is awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to check that. I have to check it out. Real quick, I listened to the Babytron, and it's called Tronicles album. It was okay. My biggest thing about this whole album is, first of all, Babytron's from Detroit, and I got put on to him by obviously Eminem. He was on a Eminem song, Toby. He sang the hook on it. My biggest problem with this whole album is there's not one song that has a hook. It's just straight like I felt like he was just like played the beat and then just fucking like a freestyle. I feel like every song is like freestyle. Okay. Like, no, you know how most songs have like a hook, right?
Yeah, I have the hook, and that's almost like not the intermission, but that's like the part where you'll say everybody sings along with the hook or whatever, especially if it's a catchy good hook or whatever. Yeah. So he was just free flowing the whole time.
I feel like it was just free flow the whole time. Every song, there's not one hook on any song. Like, he doesn't repeat anything.
See, I mean, you can have 1 or 2 tracks like that, but you can't have a whole album where there's no hook.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, it was different. Not bad for like a new school type rapper either. So it wasn't too bad. Like I probably won't ever listen to it again, but it was okay. It was decent. But I also want to report that 19 years ago today, I almost did this as the album review because I went back and listened to it. But 19 years ago this week, Kanye West dropped Late Registration. Obviously, the classics like Hey Mama. He tried to get all white people to see if we'd drop the N-word in Gold Digger. He was trying to catch us, but not me, Kanye. Not me. I say she ain't messing with no broke crackers instead of the N-word. That album is a classic. Like these kids, like that's Kanye West to me. Like this first 3-4 albums, I don't know who this new Ye character is, but man, like that Late Registration album, the College Dropout, and Graduation, those 3 albums alone. But it's been 19 years ago today. Kanye blessed us with Late Registration. Obviously, Diamonds remix with Jay-Z on it. Not a businessman. I'm a businessman. Yes. Let me handle my business. Damn. Like
damn, 19 years already, bro. You mentioned it earlier about in 4 years we'll be voting again. It goes by quick. It's already been 19 years since that album came out. Wow.
19 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That album was a masterpiece and a classic. So I wanted to shout out that.
My boy froze here, but I think he's trying to say that's one of those albums where you put that on and you can just listen to it all the way through. You don't have to worry about skipping songs or anything like that. Hopefully Nick will come back at us at some point in time when he gets his internet going there. But we will be doing our top 5 Saturday morning cartoons from us growing up. So I'm gonna give him a minute or two to come back before I start with the list here. But people in the comments, you know what I'm saying, let me know what were your top cartoons when you were growing up. I'm going to throw out a couple that were on my possibles list, but that didn't make the list. If you remember back in the day, they had a Ghostbusters cartoon. It was all right, but it wasn't good enough to make my top 5 list. I ain't going to front. I was a fan of the Smurfs, but they weren't good enough to make my top 5 list either. But we'll wait to see if what Nick does when he comes back so that we can go over our top 5s. Again, I do want to talk real quick about the well, I'm gonna get this off my chest here since this is the weekly dump here. There was a lot of talk about the hiring of Stephanie White. Yes, I am going to talk a little WNBA here for you guys, so sorry about that. You'll be all right. Stephanie White, who was the former Connecticut head coach, is now the head coach of the Indiana Fever. She is an Indiana girl. And of course, it comes out not so long ago that Cheryl Swoops comes out talking about that nobody wants to play for her, and that I don't understand again what the animosity is towards Caitlin Clark. I just got a text from our boy. His internet went completely out. So I'm going to try to draw this to a close unless he wants me to wait for him. So bear with me for a second. But yeah, so I'm anticipating. There's been a lot of talk about, in her press conference, she mentioned Lexi Hall, obviously Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston being the core of this team. Obviously, leaving out a couple other players like Nalissa Smith, who there was a lot of talk about problems with her because she's in a relationship with Dejounte Carrington of the Connecticut Sun. So what was going to happen there? So they're always trying to bring up drama when there's no need for any type of drama, but we'll see what happens there. Let me see if I can send my boy the link. Apologies for this right here, but you know how your boys internet do. Yeah, it's probably not gonna let me send a link because this is through his stream. All right, so I'm gonna close it out. We'll give you guys our top 5 Saturday morning cartoons next week, so that way you can hear Nick's choices as well. But you guys all know, you know what I'm saying, the top ones. I'm an 80s kid, so you can imagine what my top list is. But again, throw yours in the comment section. For the guys that made the comments, Bo, Ed, Rob, everybody else, appreciate it. Smoking Jeremy, appreciate all the comments. We'll get back with you guys. Me and Nick will actually be back tonight for the recap show. It is 8 Eastern time, 7 Central. So definitely check it out. Enjoy your football this morning. I don't know what's going on with this game over in Germany, but considering it's the New York Giants and the Carolina Panthers, probably not much of anything. But thanks for checking us out. We will be back. We'll be back tonight for the recap show, and of course, we'll be back next Sunday for some more weekend dump, our weekly dump, and another top 5 list. Again, we'll give you our top 5 Saturday morning cartoons. So definitely check that out. Apologies for Nick losing his internet, but if you know Nick at all and you've been watching this at all, you know how that goes. But if you're new, hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, turn on your notifications. Whenever we are going live. We will see you guys again tonight for the recap show, and next week for another weekly dump. Thanks for checking us out. Have a great day. Peace, people.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.